The C-suite is a partnership of senior leaders who must be committed to working with each other to properly guide their organization to success, while also ensuring that groupthink never takes hold. Senior executives must challenge each other professionally, execute the strategy, and solve complex problems together. It begins and ends with leaders willing to hold themselves accountable for the organization's successes and failures. It's a partnership that can create long-standing value that benefits all critical stakeholders. Please enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Finance Leader Podcast, where leadership is bigger than the numbers. I am your host, Stephen McLean. This is the podcast for developing leaders in finance and accounting. This is episode number 65, and I will be talking about the dynamics of the C-suite, and I will highlight the following topics. Number 1, it's a partnership to deliver the strategy. Number 2, strategic mindset with a focus on value creation. Number 3, vision, influence, and communication are key. And 4, success or failures rests with the C-suite. Test pilot Brigadier General Chuck Yeager said, "You don't concentrate on risks, you concentrate on results. No risk is too great to prevent the necessary job from getting done." Last week, Season 8 debuted with Episode 64, The CFO Mindset, where I focused on the idea that you need to pivot your skills, your mindset, and your perspective about rising to the executive level. You must view the organization as a whole and have a strategic outlook. This week, I'm talking about the C-suite dynamic, especially what it means to be serving in the role as senior executive and what the expectations are. The senior executives should always be talking with their teams, talking with anyone about the strategy, the brand, and the vision, always to get people excited and to open communication about where the company is going and what challenges they are facing. Open communication is critical to avoid rumors and anything that is not clear. Now, what are the traits and skills of senior executives? Now, I think of persistence, confidence, problem solving, being goal-oriented, being strategic and forward-thinking, preserving decision space, an excellent communicator, can influence positive outcomes, they build trust, they have a strong work ethic, and definitely leadership. And this is why I have this platform. Now, I go back to episode 2 of the Finance Leader Podcast, where I highlight 4 critical responsibilities of finance and accounting leaders. Now, number 1, influencing positive outcomes. Number 2, developing your team members. Number 3, achieving results. And 4, seeing the future. These 4 responsibilities are key to your growth as a finance and accounting leader as you rise in role and responsibility. Now, as I had mentioned last week in episode 64, if you are working now in a role below executive, you will need to transition your mindset, skill set, and perspective to be prepared for that level. You will need to transition from the detail-oriented person you probably are today to being more strategic and seeing the organization as a whole, seeing it from a high level. This requires a shift in how you think and how you see the world. It takes a shift in confidence and the ability to lead during adversity and change. Typical roles in the C-suite are senior executives representing key teams and areas of responsibility in the company. And of course, it's led by the Chief Executive Officer, who is responsible for everything the organization does or fails to do. And you have a Chief People Officer, Chief Operations Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Technology Officer, and of course, Chief Financial Officer. The C-suite is a partnership of executives committed to making the company successful by creating a vision the team can understand and believe in, making decisions around a strategy, and solving complex problems together. And together is the key. Every day you'll be solving problems, and that means developing options, understanding the market and business environment, and making decisions. To be successful and contribute at the C level, this is what you must do, and we'll talk about a couple things here. Number 1 is your mindset must be growth-oriented. You must believe that you can improve and grow. Your growth is not fixed. You have to ignore the critics, for example, of where you came from or where you went to school, and those who will use passive-aggressive tactics on you to shatter you or to shake up your dreams or goals. The more you are successful, the more critics and haters you will get. And it might be the people closest to you. So be ready and have a strong, growth-oriented mindset. Number 2, you must be able to solve problems in a complex environment and adapt as conditions change. Meaning, don't get fixated. Don't get rigid in your approach. Be ready to change and watch your bias. Number 3, you must be strong enough to deal with the other executives who appear to challenge your approach. Can you handle adversity? Can you handle high-pressure situations? Can you successfully contribute even after you've been challenged by those who might be more talented than you? And again, can you handle passive-aggressive tactics? I talk about passive aggressiveness in the course I offer at Finance Leader Academy. And this is where a group of senior executives can be successful. They must focus on value creation and not just reporting and conducting everyday business. But how are we increasing the value of the company? And what do I mean by value? There are, of course, traditional views of value, such as the worth of tangible assets like cash, property, and investments that is created through everyday sales. But I'm also talking about what makes up goodwill in a company. Goodwill is, of course, subjective, and it includes a good reputation and customer loyalty. But I want to highlight 3 significant areas for value creation. Number 1, what are the values of the company, and does that translate to the values of your customer base and potential customer base? We are talking about social responsibility, but to a higher level, and you must be genuine about it. Can your company appeal to what is important regarding what is happening on a larger scale? And some examples are equality, climate change, immigration, and overall equal opportunity and fairness. Today, it requires more than just a great product or service. It requires commitment and activism at a different level, and this creates value for the company. But a word of caution. You must be genuine and believe in the cause you choose. You must believe in the core tenets of that cause. Number 2, further, you must create brand awareness. And what I mean by brand awareness is that you are going beyond what your product and service offer to the customer. You're talking about what the brand means. And you want to integrate that into what I talked about before, and that's the values of the company. You want to go beyond the traits and what the service and product offer to the customer. Combined that traditional brand awareness, what the product and service is, with the values of the company going to a higher level so you can appeal to what people are believing in today. Number 3, finally, the most important is the quality of the people working for the company. Does the company invest in their people? Value creation is going beyond what we would normally view as what the financial statements would tell us. It's believing in a critical cause, not every cause, pick 1 or 2 so you can focus properly, which can lead to an excited and elevated brand awareness. And finally, it's always about your people. Onboard great people and invest in them. You will create a lot of value. Never forget that this is about value creation and not just reporting and everyday tasks. Now let's talk about a few key points about the C-suite dynamic. Number 1, it's a partnership to deliver the strategy. To serve on an executive team is to create a trustworthy partnership where you work together to make the company successful. Now, how do you do that? Accountability, the sharing of ideas. Challenge each other to bring out the best. Be a team of rivals professionally who can positively affect change and to challenge a different way to think and solve problems. Focus on the company as a whole, not just what your department does. A successful senior executive has a broader understanding of the business along with knowledge about each function. Know the difference between undermining a process and challenging an idea. Until a decision is made, ideas should be challenged. Also, don't create an environment where ideas can't be shared. Once a decision is made, then it's time for everyone to be on board 100% to see it executed and to see it succeed. But the C-suite team must guard against groupthink. We don't want a group of people who all think the same and are yes people. I despise yes people. Challenge each other up until the decision is made. Challenge the status quo, and know you will also be challenged. Never let groupthink to take hold in your organization. Number 2, strategic mindset with a focus on value creation. As a CFO, reporting is essential, but how are you creating value for the company? Created value must positively affect all the stakeholders. And like I said a few minutes ago, value goes beyond the financial statements and includes reputation, but more importantly, it's the values you believe in, which creates an exciting opportunity for mass brand awareness. And it's always about bringing on great people and investing in them, investing in their training and development. Thinking strategically is a skill. Adopting that into your mindset will require a shift in your thinking and perspective, and once achieved successfully, will change your entire life and viewpoint. Number 3, vision, influence, and communication are key. How do you get people excited about the brand? Even if the product or service you offer is not that exciting. But I believe if people are willing to pay money for your product or service, then it is exciting. Yes, some products are necessary and they will be bought no matter what, but may not be truly exciting. If that is the case, then highlight why people need your product and why it's important. At the highest levels of military service, we keep in mind 2 very important stakeholders to military operations: the citizens we are protecting and their livelihood, and the ground soldier who has to execute the plans that are being developed. Keep your critical stakeholders in mind and communicate that importance throughout your team. Who are your critical stakeholders? And why are they important? How can you take care of them? How can you build their needs into your plans and the strategy? I want to encourage you to talk with everyone, not to only drive your beliefs, but to listen and get feedback. Your presence can be intimidating, and that is not where you want to be. When you speak with team members, help them to relax so you get feedback, and in turn, you can talk about the brand and how the brand makes a difference in the world and how it will change people's lives for the better, no matter the product or service. Number 4, success or failure rests with the C-suite. Everything the company does well or fails at begins and ends with the senior executives. What you focus on is what your team will focus on. Senior executives have to accept responsibility for the performance of the company, good and bad, and for the performance of their teams. It rests with you. There are stakeholders relying on you to make the right decisions and to lead with integrity, to set high standards, and to execute with passion and a strong work ethic. Now for action today, operating in the C-suite is different from any role you have ever had. A few questions to consider. Number 1, are you a good teammate who can partner with others to solve complex problems? Number 2, how well do you lead when there is no certainty? Number 3, how well can you lead where you must determine what is important to focus on and no one above you is telling you what is the priority? Number 4, can you lead in an adverse environment where you have to evaluate the risks involved? I am asking these questions so you can evaluate your mindset and perspective. Your mindset must be aligned before you ever achieve the role of CFO. Your finance and accounting knowledge is not good enough to get you promoted, and if that was the one reason a company put you in that role, you would probably fail. Address your mindset and how you evaluate priorities, plus the risks involved. Today I talked about the C-suite dynamic and highlighted the following points. Number 1, it's a partnership to deliver the strategy. Number 2, strategic mindset with a focus on value creation. Number 3, vision, influence, and communication are key. And 4, success or failures rests with the C-suite. The C-suite is where it begins and ends. It's a partnership of leaders who challenge each other professionally and who focus on value creation instead of only what the financial statements will say this month or next month. Value creation is about long-term growth around shared values, brand awareness, and taking care of your team. Next week, I will be talking about the CFO skill set. I can't wait to share. I do have a Facebook group called the Finance Leader Podcast Community. This is a place where we can help each other to grow and be prepared for the next step in our careers as finance and accounting professionals, so please join. The link is in the show notes with this episode. Also, please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find my usernames in the show notes with this episode. I hope you enjoyed the Finance Leader Podcast. I am dedicated to helping you grow your leadership skills, to change your mindset, and to clarify your goals so you achieve the role of Chief Financial Officer. You can find this episode wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, you can check out more resources at financeleaderacademy.com and sign up for my weekly updates so you don't miss an episode. And now, go lead your team, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.